and welcome back to Green Pro. In the previous videos, we've gone through just quick clips of getting through the quick quote, the MCS performance estimate, and the EPVS calculations of our new solar PV tool. So this final video will be going through putting all that together and generating a full quote. So once you've done all your sections, you've done your roof sections and you've done the pitch and the shading and everything else, then you want to move on to full quote. This should bring in all of the information that you've put in previously. So for example, customer name, customer address, the equipment that you're going to be using, and some information that you've put in the previous sections. So this is the quote. So these are quite similar questions to the quick quote questions, but what comes after this quote? So I'm going to say contract signing is going to come after this quote. So that means the text will be displayed. If you're happy to proceed, please sign and return the contract. I want this quote to be valid for 30 days. And I want the equipment specifications still to be shown. Do I want to include all of this? I'm going to run through and just say, yes, I'm happy to include all of that in my final price. I don't want to include any of these things, but obviously these, you can still change these if they have changed since you ran it through with the quick quote section. And then what you want to do is split this out into costs and of parts and labour. So my total price, as I put in the quick quote, was 10,000. If you wanted to go back, you would need to just hop back into the quick quote, update that and sort of regenerate it just to make sure that all of the EPVS and the MCS performance estimate are accurate, because you obviously have to put the cost of the project into there. And I'm not using a loan. Do I want to show a payment schedule? Because this is my final quote, I want to be compliant with my consumer code. So I'm going to say yes to that. And then you add the description. So you can just put in, if you're only taking a deposit and a final balance, then you can just put in your deposit and then set your due date for that. And then if you wanted to add any further advance payments, but I'm just going to say final balance is my second one. But if you are offering any other advance payments, then you need to make sure that those are included in this list. Those are my two. Now it's pulled through here, current usage and tariffs that you've put in the quick quote and obviously in the MCS performance estimate. So those are all there. You can update them. If you do update them, you need to make sure you go back and update it in the previous sections too, because you don't want the documents to be at odds with each other. And then for appendices, do I want to show these sections? I'm going to say yes. And that means that when I did my MCS design calculations and my EPVS final breakdown, when I generated those PDFs, they now are sat as appendices. If I hadn't generated each of those as I went, there would be nothing to attach here, which is why it's important that at the end of every section, you choose to generate those documents so that they can be attached to your final quote. If you've made changes since you last regenerated these documents, you need to go back and make sure that you regenerate them, because again, you don't want the documents to be at odds with each other. But hopefully by the time you get to full quote, you've got everything nailed down and nothing should need to be updated. Then we go to save. And that's generating my full quote. Once it's generated, you're able to download it. So we'll download that as a PDF and then take you through that as well. So once your PDF is generated, this is what it looks like. Very, very similar to the quick quote, with just some extra information that is compliant added in for the full quotation to be sent alongside a contract. So starting off with your company logo and the project information, the Google view of the roof sections, as well as system size and panel layout and main components. So panels, battery, inverter, and the price that you'd put in there. Carries on with the estimated system performance. Obviously, now that you've done full shading analysis and made sure that the panels will fit on the roof, this might have changed from the quick quote. So just make sure if it has, that you're explaining that to the customer and why. We do have disclaimers obviously for this, but it's best if they're also told as well. And then you have your savings and CO2 and your payback period included. Then you still have the breakdown of the yeses and the nos of things you want to show in terms of what you're including. These are all there, and if they remained unchanged from the quick quote, then obviously it'd be very, very similar. Still, the brief next steps is there, but it obviously the text is slightly different because you've chosen full quote. Product specifications still there, so your panel, inverter and battery, descriptions, features and benefits and warranty. But now what's also included is your pricing breakdown. So that includes labour and parts, which obviously your consumer code mandates should be included, and any payment schedule as well. So if you're taking a deposit, any kind of advance payments, then these need to be set out in a payment schedule in terms of due date, percentage and the amount that translates to. And then also we have your shading analysis. So this is a description of shading, what it does and what it is. And then also in terms of which section, obviously, as we can see, the southeast roof, we've added some shading in there, so it's going to show that. Northwest roof has no shading. So it's just a quick little explainer of what that shading does and how it impacts the performance of the system. But that's your full quote. So then you can pull that in through to Easy MCS projects, have that attached with a contract and get that sent over to your customers. And hopefully this has made the process a lot easier and a lot more visual as well than our previous one has. If you have any questions at all, obviously, please do contact your consultant. If you have any feedback, let us know. We're always trying to make things better for you. Thank you very much for watching.